Hello again. The purpose of this video is to elaborate a little on the concepts of the circle of thought, and specifically how that connects to skills and why it's important to build these skills. So I'll just read through each of these words, give the definition, and then describe how to hone them as a skill and why that would be important. So, first word, the first part of the circle of thought is describing, and that describing is the act of giving an account in words of someone or something, including all the relevant characteristics, qualities, or events. So description is another way of saying assessing or observing, and I find that the wisest people are those who pay attention and are able to take all of the characteristics of something, and they understand it and they can play with it in their minds. And a lot of those who are not wise are those who don't pay any attention, who just kind of go with impulses and who have only rudimentary understanding of something. So our ability to understand something and our understanding of something is reflected in how detailed our descriptions in words are of that something. So the more that we can describe in words accurately something or someone, the more accurate our mental representation and the more accurate our responses. Second word is elaborating. Elaborating means to develop or present a theory, policy, or system in detail. And so what that means for me is, okay, so I've had this event or this person, I've described it in detail, how does it relate? So elaborating would be another way of saying relating, or making meaning of something. So to elaborate, that's an important skill, because the more I can connect people and things to a meaningful structure within my brain, and the more relevant and detailed that structure, the more accurate the meaning that I make of something. The third is deciding. Deciding means to come to a resolution in mind as a result of considerations. Decision making, in my experience, requires being able to just kind of sit down and say, okay, this is the best course of action, everything else gets put off to the side. Making decisions is a mutually exclusive process. When we decide one thing, all other options go out the window, or most of them do. So being more skillful in decision making is important, crucial even, because when we decide something, all other options, including all other better options, go out the window. And so that's why that is an important skill to develop. The better we can decide something, the more incisive and accurate our plans will be. Our actions will be. So the fourth word was planning. Planning means to decide on and arrange in advance. So once we've described and elaborated and decided, then our planning is important as a skill, since a vision of things as they will be, that's important for the next steps. So for me, I make plans for tomorrow, and they may not always pan out, but because I'm conscious and aware of, who I am and the elements of the day and the stresses I'll be facing and the things that I'll need to do, the more aware I can be of that, the better my decisions will be. The last word is guiding action. Our brains, in my experience, I don't know if this is scientific or not, but in my experience, my brain has to shut off if I'm going to act accurately. My thinking, if I'm trying to focus on thinking when I'm doing something, it doesn't really work. but my thoughts are still there, and it's more of a kind of this sacred interplay, if you will, where I act and everything goes silent, and then I take a moment and assess and say, okay, well, we need to go in this direction if we're going to stick to the plan. And then I go in that direction. So that the guiding process is our ability to show leadership, to take a look at ourselves and our actions and say, this is the direction that we've decided on going. Our actions are kind of going off course, let's course correct, and then letting the action take itself. This is how I play the piano. This is how I, when I'm running or when I'm doing something, again, that requires my focus being on the acting itself, that's what my thoughts start doing. My thoughts kind of diminish, but they crop up when I observe and realize that I'm going off course and going off plan. So the better we are at guiding, the better our ability to act on our plans is. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on this subject. I hope this is helpful and relevant for you, and I hope the next steps on your journey are rewarding.